Hi, I'm Howie Spira, and I'm back. You know me from the past. Dave Winfield's publicist, the guy who got George Steinbrenner thrown out of baseball, all the legalities that went with it. This is a sports show that's going to focus on the field activity. I'm going to try to stay away from who murdered who domestic violence, DWIs, drugs. On the field, why, when, how, in every sport, except hockey. Nobody likes hockey. And I'm going to break it down. Honestly, I'm not going to worry about people's feelings. I'm not going to worry about the way they're going to react. I've had a passion for sports since I was in grammar school. I used to make statistical charts. I was in first grade. I knew every statistic on the back of a baseball card. All I did in life was sports. The first pitch, the kickoff, the opening tap. Sports. My whole life is not holidays, not birthdays, anniversaries, sports. Everything with me is sports. And this is a show that's going to really focus on the field activity, and you're going to love it. Because this is the Howie Spira Show. Roll it.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, New York, to the Howie Spira Show. The long summer's finally over. Fall is here. Football is back. Thank God football is back. There's nothing like the National Football League. There's also college football. Baseball becomes important in September, going into the playoffs in October. U.S. Open tennis, FedEx golf. Everything is on the horizon. Let's start this fucking show. Where's Kojo? Kojo, where are you? This is my business manager, Kojo Benton, who I trust with my life, which shows my life isn't worth much.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Howie. How are you?
Well, better than the Jets and the Giants, and the Jets won.
You're telling the truth there.
I mean, who do you want to start with, the Jets or the Giants?
Well,
Or do you want to start with a pro football?
since we just had the bloodbath last night, let's talk about the Giants.
Kojo, what is wrong with them? What is wrong with them?
Well, do you want to hear their excuse? Their excuse is the new offense.
Are they special? I mean, I watched a quarterback and a defensive back. They ran into each other, and they left the most prolific. Well, that big word make my head hurt. They made the most famous receiver in football right now, the most talented, Calvin Johnson. They left him alone. Nobody was with him within 30 yards. How do you do that? That's like leaving LeBron James alone.
Howie, they made the Detroit Lions look like they're going to end up playing Seattle in the Super Bowl. The Detroit Lions look like they were playing Madden video game.
Well, they're in the same conference, but I get your point.
Yeah, well, maybe in the NFC Finals. Thanks, Howie.
But Thursday night, we got to see real football.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle, that team, I don't usually go out on a limb the first weekend of football, but if they stay healthy, I don't see any reason, with the additions they've made, with the hunger they seem to still have, that team is going to repeat.
Yeah, they look really, really tough.
And Pete Carroll knows how to win. He's won on every level.
Yeah.
He's intense. He's in his early 60s. He runs around like he's 25 years old. He's got a fire in him. And he does it different than both Harbaugh brothers, who are very hard to like. They're not likable people. They're like, there's something wrong with the way, the coach of the San Francisco 49ers, there's already talk that even if they win, he's out.
Yeah.
So, once you get to that point, you lose your team. But Pete Carroll, I like him. I liked him when he coached the Jets 20
He's like a guru or Zen or something. He's got those guys, maybe doing yoga or something, and that's why they're winning. Who knows? It's very Pacific Northwest.
With the whole country watching, the first Thursday night, the kickoff special, they took a Green Bay Packer team that's well respected, with one of the best quarterbacks ever in football, and Aaron Rodgers, and they made him look silly.
Yeah.
When they hit you, Seattle, on defense, it's like an assault. They hit you for real. Other teams tackle. Well, most teams, not the Giants. But They hit you like they want to hurt you, like they want to break you.
That's that hunger you just talked about. Speaking about hungry, what about your Jets, Howie?
Listen, they won. For the Giants, it was the worst 5-0 preseason ever, and now the Jets won. And if they were playing any type of a real team on Sunday afternoon, not only would they have lost, they would have lost big.
Yeah.
They had 5 penalties, including 3 holding calls in the first 8 minutes of the game.
Wow.
Who does that? I mean, here's something I don't understand. On a false start, all a guy has to do is know the count and then either block or back up, depending if it's a running play or a passing play.
Exactly.
On the count. Well, all you got to do is stand there. That's what he's paid for, to be fat and stand there. Well, how is it that they leave 3 seconds early? I mean, I don't understand that. That I really don't understand. False starts to me. And how about a wide receiver false start? All he's got to do is look in, and when the ball moves, he moves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly chemistry or biology or neuroscience.
What causes that? What do you think that is? Are they special?
The truth?
It's the truth, Howie. That's all you
They're
tell.
fucking morons.
There you go.
They're just so stupid. And okay, there's one play that epitomized, there's that big word again, that showed exactly why Geno Smith will never be a successful NFL quarterback.
What was that?
The Jets led by 6 points in the fourth quarter against an Oakland team that couldn't score if there was no defense on the field.
Right.
A field goal would have been goal. They would have been up 9, 2 scores. There's no way they lose that game. The Jets were on the 21-yard line of Oakland. They had a 3rd and 3.5. Just run into the line, fall down, kick. The Jets kicker never misses.
Right.
Never.
Right, Nick Folk.
He takes the snap. He starts running backwards. And he ends up losing 20 yards. I will never forget that play. That play will stay with me for the next 10 years. I mean, it's plays like that. And in the interview room, he's like, well, I turned the wrong way. What? It's like you walk across the street, you walk in front of the bus. Oh, I made a mistake, but you're dead already.
Yeah.
If they would have lost that game, and they have some schedule coming up, they're at Green Bay on Sunday at
That's
4:25.
right.
A Green Bay team that's off for 11 days since the beating by Seattle, does not want to start 0-2, and very rarely loses at home. And they played Detroit. You saw what Detroit did to Detroit. Chicago, who's starting to get desperate. They lost a home game to Buffalo that in overtime, I believe.
Yep.
That was ridiculous. Next Monday night, I believe they go to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is not going to lose 2 in a row
No.
after losing to Denver. So, okay, the Bears are already 0-2. I mean, they play Denver. I hear Denver has a fairly good quarterback in Peyton Manning. When he gets older, he'll be pretty good. I mean, look at the schedule that the Jets have coming up with 6 straight Pro Bowl quarterbacks and a defensive backfield that's like Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? So
let me ask you something, Howie. Is there going to be postseason football in New York come December?
Oh, sure, if you go to a sports bar, it's on TV. Why are you laughing?
Oh, that's terrible.
Well,
what am I going to do? I'm a Giant fan. What am I going to do?
Root for the San Francisco Giants. They'll be in the
Oh, my
playoffs.
gosh.
But, I mean, there's no baseball in New York. The Mets, they were good like years and years ago.
Stop it.
The Yankees, the Yankees. Now, I'm afraid to talk bad about the Yankees because everyone will say, well, that's Howie. He's Howie. The New York Yankees, let's take Derek Jeter, who's retiring.
Right.
He won 4 championships in his first 5 full seasons.
Wow, is that the number?
Yeah, 96 through 2000. He came up late in 95.
Yeah.
4 wins, 96, 7, 8, and 2000.
Got it.
Okay. He was actually talking about matching Yogi Berra's 10 world championships. 14 years and $3 billion later, he's won 1 more title.
Wow.
The Yankees, and I want you to follow this. They've spent $3 billion in the last 14 seasons and won one time. Just take the Red Sox, who haven't won in a million years. They won 3 in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the San Francisco Giants, 2 in 3 years.
Absolutely. The Cardinals.
Absolutely, the Cardinals, who were always there also.
Yeah.
But what the Yankees are doing, for them not to make the playoffs in 2 consecutive years now, first of all, that hasn't happened in over 20 years. But it's not only that. It's the way people in this town speak. Fans, broadcasters. Well, there's still time. There's still time.
Still time when? This year?
That's what they're saying. Joe Girardi, well, he's paid to say it. He said he's never going to give up. But the way these sportscasters, reputable sportscasters speak, well, if somebody is 15 games out with 15 to play, well, technically they could still do it. Mm-hmm. But it's not logical. You see, here's the problem with the New York Yankees. In August, right, was Old Timers Day.
Absolutely.
Once the Old Timers Day game is over, they don't even have to leave the field. It's the same team. They're all 40,
Yeah.
and they get hurt. How could a 40-year-old guy get hurt? Oh my God! I mean,
So let me ask you something. Let's just wrap up the Yankees with this.
I'd like to, but
with this one question. What's going to happen next year after Jeter's gone? What's the Japanese guy's name? Tanaka. Is he coming back?
I'm not a surgeon. My guess would be, see, even in yesterday's paper, he says, "Well, I'm determined. I'm gonna come back and help this year." What? First of all, there are 20 days left in the baseball season. He was going to pitch against the Orioles on one of the doubleheader games Friday,
Right.
which is the 12th, and that was before he got hurt. Okay, so now we're into the following week. There's a week left in the season. I'm not an orthopedist, but based on what I've heard, the odds are, whatever it is going to give out at some point. So now, they already are in the middle of September. If he had the surgery now, okay, it's already now April of 2016.
Yeah.
And CC Sabathia, with the wear and tear on his back, his knees, heavy, not heavy. I mean, people are talking about him like he's going to come back like Sandy Koufax. Nova, who knows? Kuroda, another one will be 40.
Yeah.
And the way the Yankee hierarchy thinks, they've already said that their savior is going to be Alex Rodriguez next year. A man coming off steroids, who hasn't basically swung a bat in 2 years, who's going to be 40 years old. That's your answer? And when is he going to pay him $25, $30 million? I mean, the Yankees were going to stay under the $189 million threshold. And then they went and spent $500 million in the offseason for basement adequate players. Carlos Beltran, 38, no needs.
Gotcha.
Brian McCann, they want him to be Posada. He's not Posada. I mean, look at the people that they buy. It's like off the rack.
I gotcha.
I mean, I was just going to say, listen, at least when George was alive, he spent, but Catfish Hunter, Reggie Jackson, etc., Jason Giambi. Now they buy average people, and I'm going to say one thing. I was so thrilled when Robinson Cano left, because people say, well, how could you leave the Yankees? First of all, he would have had to leave about $75 million on the table, from 165 to 240. Who leaves $75 million on the table? But they say, well, this way he can win. These are not the Yankees from the past.
Right.
The Mets, unless Bernie Madoff's cousin comes back and takes more money from them, will win way before the Yankees, because they have young pitching and they have youth all around for the most part.
It's an interesting theory.
The key about the Yankees is very simple. It's like Tiger Woods. The aura is gone. What's their record at home this year? About 500. Teams used to lose at Yankee Stadium before they even took the field. They were so intimidated by the Yankees.
Let me ask
Those
you.
days are over.
Let me ask you this loaded question. Okay, so I'm a New York fan. What New York sports should I be looking forward to then?
Well, Phil Jackson's here.
Oh,
He's got
God.
Carmelo
Don't-
Anthony.
You're talking to me about the Knicks?
They got rid of Raven Felton, another guy with a gun.
Oh gosh.
And I have a question for you since you brought up basketball. Look, I do believe the year after next, the Knicks will be good. I believe that they will sign major free agents, maybe even Kevin Durant. I think they're going to end up being a championship
You think
team.
Kevin Durant is going to be here in 2016?
Very possibly.
Wow.
If that's when his contract is over. I hear that Phil Jackson
What about
has,
this year coming up? What am I going to do? What am I rooting for? Hockey?
Oh, God. Black people like hockey.
I'm asking you. You tell me. I don't like hockey.
Well,
but I love New York sports. What am I going to do?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You have children who play collegiate sports, right? You
Well,
better root for their teams
yeah,
around the country.
exactly. There it
Because
goes.
it's so bad. The state of New York, the flux of, it's terrible. It's no optimism left. There's nothing good. That's why.
But I'm an optimistic guy, Howie. Help me. What do I root for? Let's go back. Let's backtrack 1 second. Talk to me about the Knicks. What should we look forward to this year?
They gave $3 billion to Carmelo Anthony and $500 million to Lala to say we love New York.
Right.
And an unlimited supply of Honey Nut Cheerios.
God.
But the thing is that what I don't follow is look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers did.
Right.
Okay, nobody disliked LeBron James more than I did.
Okay.
But I admired his move, going back to his roots. He goes from villain to wearing the white hat.
Mm-hmm.
But the Cavs didn't stop there. They traded their number one pick this year, their number one pick last year, right?
Yeah, of course.
And another year for Love. Now, I don't know how good Love is. We're going to see if the chemistry is there. But they didn't stop there. Miller,
Yep.
Ray Allen, they're going for it in the right way. They don't stop.
They want to win now,
Right.
which is what I'm asking for.
There's
In New
you're not
York.
winning in New York here. There's nothing. There's nothing here. There's absolutely nothing. Look what happened this past Saturday in tennis.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What about
The
tennis?
number one player in the world, Djokovic, and the number two player in the world, Federer. Well, in this tournament.
Yeah.
And let's be straight, Federer's done. They both lost on a semifinal Saturday at the U.S. Open. That's unheard of. That's why you don't bet.
Yeah.
I mean, against people nobody's ever heard of.
Right.
They
you're right.
both lost. Now that Tiger Woods' golf career is, at best, adequate, Rory McIlroy is the face of golf. I love golf. I actually watched the BMW Championship turning back and forth from the Oakland Jet game. He had a summer that you can't match.
Right.
Winning the British Open, the Bridgestone, which is a WGC, a World Golf Championship event,
Right.
and then the PGA Championship. And this Sunday, in my opinion, he's going to win at East Lake, and he's going to win the FedEx Cup.
Don't you have a theory as to why he's winning this year now?
Who?
Rory?
Well, because he broke up with Caroline, was whatever. her name is.
Wozniacki?
Yeah, because once a girl is involved, it's a hindrance. They like pull you down for the most part. And one thing.
So it's like the similar theory that boxers have that you can't get with a girl the night before because you'll fuck up in the ring.
I don't know. I never have sex. I can't comment on that. But the thing is that look how he broke up with her. Something like a text. Listen, it's no good. We're over. Good luck.
Right.
She just went to the finals of the U.S. Open. The day
Wow. So
before
maybe it worked for
yesterday.
her too.
I mean, the thing is, I'm just Serena Williams. When she wants to play, she's just too good.
Yeah.
But there's tennis.
Yeah.
There's golf. There's I love the show Big Brother. There's just nothing to. I don't have cable,
Got it.
but there's nothing to watch. It's nothing to be excited about anymore
In New York.
in New York sports. Exactly my point.
Wow.
I mean, this Saturday's Fox Game of the Week, which is now back on in September,
Right.
is the Yankees and the Orioles. The Orioles, as we speak, have a 10-game lead in the American League East. You don't think Buck Showalter is loving? They're going to play the Yankees 8 games in the next 2.5 weeks. You don't think after what George Steinbrenner did to Buck Showalter, he's going to love making sure the Yankees don't make the playoffs?
Right.
And with the team, to go back to the Yankees, who are you going to get? Look at their club. They're kind of locked in. You got A-Rod coming back. They have Stephen Drew at shortstop. Stephen Drew, what's he batting? 159? So are they going to retire his number 2? 159. Listen, the Red Sox know what they're doing. If they didn't sign him, there was a reason they didn't sign him. The Red Sox, they just got this Cuban kid. I believe his name is Casilla.
Yeah.
And they signed him for like 7 years and $70 million. They got him in right field. How do you pronounce it? Cespedes in left field.
Cespedes, yep.
Who makes a deal at the trade deadline, trading your number 1 pitcher, usually for a prospect who ends up sucking or good in 3 years? You get Cespedes? I told you in March, when the Mets had just signed Chris Young for $7.2 million,
sure
a
did.
200 hitter, I said, Nelson Cruz is out there. And you said, well, maybe they're leery because of the drugs, the steroids. I mean, this is a team that got fleeced by the biggest con artist on earth, and Bernie Murphy. They spend like they're in Toledo, and I don't even know where Toledo is.
Right.
I said, he wanted a 1-year contract, Nelson Cruz, to prove himself. He has approximately 40 home runs now. Do the Mets as a team even have 40 home runs?
Good point, Howard.
There's no organization. Sandy Alderson, they don't know what they're doing.
So let's stay on baseball for a minute. How do you see the playoffs playing out then? Who's coming from the West? Who's coming from the East? What's going to happen?
I've said for the last couple of years that the Angels were the team to beat, and they didn't even make the playoffs. They signed Albert Pujols for a 10-year deal,
Right.
and then a 5-year deal for Hamilton. They kept getting hurt. I honestly thought Robbie Cano might end up in Anaheim.
Yeah, I remember you told me that too.
The Angels about a month ago, maybe a little more, were about 4 games behind the A's. As we sit here today, on the 9th of September, the Angels are like lead the A's by 8 games. The A's keep losing to Houston every other night.
Right.
I mean, as we speak right this minute, Seattle is in the second wild card spot, but only 1 game behind Oakland for the first wild card. So the Angels are going to win the West.
Right.
In my heart, I hope Kansas City can hold on. I don't think they've been in the playoffs since the Flintstones, like 20, 30 years, whatever it's been.
George Brett days.
I mean, the Orioles obviously have won the East, and not only that, they're set up to be the number 2 seed. The reason that's important is, okay, you have the wild card game,
Yeah.
and then the wild card team is going to play the Angels, and the Orioles will play the winner of the Central, KC or Detroit.
Yeah.
And have the home field. And baseball, even though they say it's not like football and basketball, the home field is
Significant,
a big thing.
yeah.
And one thing, if the Tigers don't find a way, right now, if the season ended this moment, they wouldn't be in the playoffs.
You're right.
They have 3 Cy Young Award winners, the last 3. Scherzer, Price, and Kate Upton's boyfriend,
Yeah.
Verlander.
Verlander, yeah.
But the other guys, Porcello, I think he has the most wins on the team. And even this new guy, Lopestein, is pitching beautifully. Miguel Cabrera,
Yeah.
Victor Martinez, 30 home runs for the first time ever. I don't know what their payroll is, but it's got to be gigantic. If they don't make the playoffs, and
Heads will roll. That's bottom line.
I mean, maybe Leland never won a championship with them, but at least he had them there every year.
Yeah.
Who's Brad Osmus? I mean, to be a manager of the Detroit Tigers, I don't understand. In the National League,
Yeah, he was a journeyman player way back when. I remember his baseball card. That's all I remember about
the
him.
Washington Nationals are a great team. I mean, I thought they would win the last few years, but I guess Davey Johnson isn't what he used to be.
Right.
In the Central, all of a sudden in the last 3-4 weeks, the Cards have erupted and you're going to win the Central. They're always there. It's like a horse, like California Chrome, except in the Belmont. He waits and then boom, he passes everybody. In the West, The Dodgers are going to win the West. The Giants are going to be the first wild card. And as we speak right now, the Pirates have a game and a half lead, 2 in the loss column in the second wild card. That's a great story because Pittsburgh hasn't won since the early 90s.
Right.
With, Willie Stargell and Dave Parker and Manny Sanguian and
We Are
Chuck
Family.
Tanner. We Are Family.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Your question was New York sports.
Yeah.
Pick another city for now, because there's nothing going on in New York. We're back.
Yeah.
And my headset sucks. See, when I do it this way, it is not going to fall off.
No, you're good.
Okay. We're back.
Yep.
Well, look, we were talking about the Knicks.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little. Let's talk about the Nets.
Oh gosh.
The owner of the Nets has more money, than anyone. He could print it. What was their luxury tax? $90 million?
Yeah.
I mean, he went for it. He bought old people. Kevin Garnett is done.
Paul
Pierce
Pierce.
is basically done. But, it always comes down to, the hierarchy. The coach. What was it, in 91 and 92, the Nets reached the NBA Finals?
Yep.
And Jason Kidd had signed the $100 million contract, as I recall. He was revered. He was children looked up to him. He's a horrible person. Do you remember that beautiful wife he had, Jumana?
Yeah, of course.
She used to sit in the second row with a Nets jersey and her long legs and heels. He always beat the fuck out of her.
He's very, very specific memory of her, Howie.
Oh, you don't even know. She and I had sex so many times. She wasn't there when we had it, but trust me.
Of course.
And, he used to beat her up. There's an old saying, a leopard doesn't change his spots.
Yeah.
Okay, so he ends up getting the Nets coaching job, runs into a pole with a DUI, and then runs out of town the first chance he gets.
Oh, yeah.
Like a bitch.
Yeah.
Now, this thing with domestic violence, I'm not that bright. I'm not an attorney. I don't know much about how the world works. I know I've never hit a woman in my life. I never would. I was abused as a child by my father.
Terrible.
I would never hit a kid, but that's me. But could you, now you're much smarter than me, attorney for 20 plus years. I don't understand something. He was charged with some serious crimes, and he would have done serious jail time, probably at least 5 years in, if not more, since it was a first offender. So she works it out, because she had to agree to it as the victim, that he gets some pre-trial bullshit camp. Intervention, which means it's nothing. It goes away. And then it'll be expunged if he stays out of trouble. But here's the part I don't understand. The whole world right now is up in arms. Even President Obama has commented on it. But the only person who seems not to be upset is the only person that should be upset. Her.
Look, Howie, this is a volatile situation. It's a crazy situation. It's something that it seemed like when it happened, like the whole world is up in arms now. It seems like the whole world suspended common sense when it first happened. I watched that video, the first video that came out, and I saw a guy pulling his fiance at that point out of the elevator.
Which was the end of the video.
At the end of the video. So I said to myself, having common sense, I did not suspend common sense.
And he knocked her out.
I said, clearly something happened in that elevator where he put her in that condition. Whether he punched her, he banged her head on the wall, something that he did that caused that. And so, for me, I'm like you, Howie, zero tolerance. Never hit a woman, never will. I think this term domestic violence is just violence. Violence is violence, period, point blank. And that's what it was. And I looked at that video and I thought there was a major problem. And, if I recall, when it first happened, there was some other story in the news came out that kind of, tamped down the Ray Rice story,
Very
or
possible.
or it was the NFL spin machine that
Well,
took it out of the news
Since
cycle.
you mentioned that, the commissioner, straight out, he lied.
No doubt.
I mean, one thing about NFL security, ex-police officers, ex-detectives, ex-FBI agents, ex-CIA agents, ex-Homeland Security people, the biggest, the best in the world. There's cameras everywhere in the world now, but especially, and I speak from experience, in a casino. There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe for plausible deniability, whoa, there's the big words again. He didn't watch it himself, which I'm sure he did. But his whole office. And what's his name? Greg, Aiello, however you pronounce it, the spokesperson for the NFL office,
Aiello.
said we hadn't seen it till today, meaning yesterday.
Look.
That's a bull-faced lie. Everyone in the world knows it.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, okay, Howie? If the NFL hadn't seen it, then they're grossly incompetent
Right.
for not doing due diligence before they hand
At
out
best.
at best before they hand out a penalty like that. In a case like this, if they didn't see it and didn't take it upon themselves to see it, then they're grossly incompetent.
And then they're all high and mighty. We suspend him for indefinitely and
And then if they did see it and they did not act
two
appropriately,
game suspension.
they're also grossly incompetent.
Right.
So look, to me, it starts at the top.
I agree. And he's a great commissioner, but on this one he screwed up. But here's the point I was making. What's the fiance, now the wife's name? I don't even know her name. But she's defending him. On my phone now it says that the wife, defends embattled Rice.
Yeah.
I mean, in essence, she's telling the world it's fine. Because the charges went all the way down to nothing.
Yeah, it was pled down to like a misdemeanor.
A misdemeanor when it should have been an attempted murder. And on top of all that, she really she's a beautiful girl.
Mm.
She really got even with him. She really punished him. She has sex with him every night. She married him. I don't. So either she wanted the millions. There are names for people like that. Mm-hmm. She's a moron. And if you tell me it's for love, I'll have to take off my headset and vomit.
Look, I mean, I think it's. I get your point. You've got to remember she's a victim, and it's a part of. Apparently, there's this. These people who are much smarter than me, the psychologists, therapists, etc. There's a word for folks like that who have been through a cycle of violence.
Post-traumatic stress?
Post-traumatic stress, Stockholm syndrome, whatever it may call, where they want to stay.
But this is not Law and Order SVU. I mean,
of course
ridiculous.
not. But it's real life. It's real life, and this does happen in real life, and that's what maybe that's what she's going through. But at the end of the day, I know what you're talking about, where she came out on one of the social media sites, either Instagram or Twitter, and defended Ray Rice and their whole family, and essentially blamed the media and the public for ruining their family life. Look, with all due respect to her, Ray Rice ruined their life.
Of course.
It wasn't us. We're all just on our soapboxes talking about it now. But like I said, for me, it started back then when that video came out.
But it still bothers me.
Of course.
Go back to President Clinton. The whole world was up in arms about his oral sex with Monica Lewinsky, a little fat girl. And Donald Trump said that if he would have done it with a supermodel, he'd be a hero instead of a little fat girl. Donald always has a way to put things in perspective. But
he didn't have sexual relations with her. Isn't that what he said?
He didn't. He said, I did not have sexual relations with that girl.
Yes.
That's polite for she sucked my cock, I guess.
Yeah,
like presidential
I guess so.
cock.
Yes.
So does it have a seal, like a White House seal on it?
What was the point, Howie? We're tangenting right now.
The whatever the big word you used was. The only person in the world that should have been concerned with that is the woman who didn't give a shit. She just wants to be president and probably
Absolutely.
will be in the next few years. Hillary.
Yeah.
Well, the whole world is mad about this situation, but the woman it happened to, in essence, is saying, I don't want him to go to jail, and I'm going to cook for him, I'm going to clean for him, I'm going to give him sex like a porn star every night. She married him. She made it all okay. So I don't. Now you can use all these big words, stock, whatever you said, syndrome, and listen. I have post-traumatic stress disorder too, because of George Steinbrenner. We'll do that another time. but this is ridiculous. And then she comes out and says, "It's your fault," because, listen, we've had business dealings with people recently who came at us. They made specific promises in writing, and I don't forget anything. And I called them on it, and they're like, listen, you be patient and you do what you're told, and I never said this. You never said this. Here it is.
Right.
When people are backed into a corner, instead of doing the right thing and apologizing, they come out aggressive, like volatile, offensive. The perfect sports example, Pete Rose. If he would have apologized a quarter of a century ago, first of all, he would have made so much money in the last 25 years off baseball.
Right.
But he kept lying and lying. And I know for a fact who he bet with, because I was dealing with the same people at the time because I was a sick gambler. But he kept lying, and then he was arrogant. See, people forgive domestic violence, and they forgive drugs, and they forgive alcohol, and they forgive steroids. Nobody likes arrogance. That's the word. Don't be arrogant, and most athletes are because they can be.
And don't
to
lie.
me, that's inexcusable.
I mean, in this case, with this Ray Rice situation, I think part of it is people are definitely shocked by the video, because the actual, hearing about it versus seeing
That is a Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson punch.
Yeah, hearing about it versus seeing it it's two different, altogether different things.
Why didn't he ever hit a linebacker like that?
And then the second thing is the point of the cover up. The cover up. Whether it's NFL, whether it's the Ravens, whether it's Ray Rice himself not coming out. I mean, if you remember the press conference they had when they paraded him and his wife out there.
In essence, he told the truth when you break it down.
But he made it sound so trivial. He said a minor altercation they had in the elevator. Was that a minor altercation to you, Howie?
I'd be scared if there's a major one.
Exactly.
I mean, what's major than a terrorist attack? Now, I know nobody cares about what we're talking about. It's our opinion. There's like, fuck these guys.
Right.
They want to talk about sports. Okay, this past NFL weekend, there is Denver Sunday night against Indianapolis.
Yep.
Everyone is saying that Andrew Luck is maybe going to be the best quarterback in football. I personally don't see it. Do you see it?
He's good, the best in football. I don't see that yet either.
But he
Howie.
keeps losing. I believe it's the week after.
What did he do this weekend versus Denver?
He lost.
I know, but do you remember any of his statistics at all?
Well,
I know he threw a couple of picks, right?
They were 21 points behind.
Yeah.
And I believe it was 31-10.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, remember, there's a prevent defense involved.
Right.
The defense just wants to use clock, and he starts scoring, and they got a fluke touchdown, which you can't even duplicate. It batted up in the air 5 times, and it fell in the guy's hands like the immaculate reception.
Right.
With
Right.
Franco Harris. I mean, things happen. But when it counted, they were down by 7, late, driving. He threw an interception.
There you go.
And then it was called back, and on 4th down, batted away. So when see, Peyton Manning makes that throw successfully. Tom Brady makes that throw successfully. You have to, like in baseball, they called Reggie Jackson Mr. October. Because in October, when it counts, in the playoffs and in the World Series, he hit home runs. They called Dave Winfield Mr. May because he choked when it counted. He could hit great in May when nobody cared.
Yeah.
But when it counts, you earn your keep in a football playoff game or Super Bowl, or a baseball playoff or World Series.
So you would start. Let's do a quick rundown of this upcoming weekend and who you want to talk about your picks this weekend.
Well, the Jets are going to play at Green Bay. Apparently, Green Bay is banged up.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see any way in this world that Green Bay is going to lose to the Jets, but I hope they do, because if the Jets happen to win a road game like that and go to 2-0, I think it's amazing. That's a big New England loss, because Buffalo and Miami are not winning the division, and the Jets play them both twice, so they have it in
Right.
their own hands.
Right.
The fact that they have a quick one-game lead, and it's a divisional loss on a tiebreaker over New England, that's a big thing, because I told you, 1 out of 16.
Yep, absolutely.
The Giants are going to play Arizona.
Right. So
Very
so
simple.
right now you've got the. Do you pick the Jets or
So
Green Bay?
to win the game?
Yeah, win the game. Let's just make a
No,
bet.
but I sure hope I'll root
So
for them.
your head is with Green Bay, your heart is with the Jets.
Yeah, only because like you, I have nothing to do.
I got you.
You have a wife and kids. I have nobody to talk to for the next 4 months.
Gotcha.
I could talk to my producer who calls me Spira. I mean, you don't even know my name. That's pretty sad. But the name of the show is the Howie Spira Show, and he refers to me as Howie Spira. Do you see anything wrong with
Yeah,
that?
that's a-
Fucking moron. You, listen, you get what you pay for.
That's right.
But the thing is, on top of that, okay, the Giants.
Okay, the Giants.
If the Giants lose to Arizona on Sunday at home and go to 0-2, remember, they're going to play an incredibly difficult Eagle team twice.
Yep.
The Redskins get up for them twice, right? Dallas twice.
Yep.
I mean, they lose this game to Arizona, let's say straight out, the season's over, no playoffs.
Okay.
Even if they fight their way back to 7-9, 8, so what? No, and I told you in the offseason clearly, and I never said I know anything. I told you they need to trade Eli Manning and get a number 1 pick.
Yeah,
They
you
could probably
sure
get
did.
2 number 1 picks, and for one of these young quarterbacks, put Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, in New York City. First of all, he could never count the money he could make on Madison Avenue
No question.
in endorsements and appearances. And then you're like Jerry Jones, the owner, general manager, water boy, everything of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
He said that their future would be secured for the next 10 to 15 years by having Johnny Manziel. He was mad that they didn't take him, which makes no sense because, I mean, nobody goes to the bathroom in Dallas without Jerry Jones. He could have picked him if he wanted to. But the bottom line is, it's again the past, just like what the Yankees do. The past, the past. What about the present and the future? It looks like Eli Manning is done.
So you
give him a gold watch, and you know he does Dunkin' Donuts commercial now, and some other thing, and cars
Yeah.
and this and that.
Toyota. and stuff,
Yeah, whatever. But the bottom line is, it's up in the past. When did they win the Super Bowl the last time? How many years ago?
Four years ago.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
My producer's sticking up fingers like I could see. How many?
3 years
Three.
ago.
3. It's like a little girl. How old are you? Are you this old? I'm like, where do we get these guys from?
So you
And
got
they get paid, right?
Yeah.
They get paid. And by the way, you know what time it is right now? Let me look at my cheap phone. It's now 2:01. General Hospital would have started, but now it's back to 3 o'clock. We've been here. I was here 7 o'clock this morning. They strolled in at 11 because there was traffic somewhere in Detroit. They don't even feed us.
Listen.
Even in prison, they give you 2 meals and a little snack.
Okay.
Why is that funny to you?
I'm
Here, you just offered water. The guy who calls me Spira. This is what we rely on.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I have a future.
listen.
What?
Listen, I'm trying to get your picks for this weekend, Howie, because there's some people who are going to bet off of these.
The Giants, people gamble
Yeah, exactly.
off me?
Oh.
Fucking morons.
Yeah, right.
I bet so many millions of dollars without money for the phone call, but I digress.
There you go.
I don't know what that means, but sounded good.
So the Giants
will
lose.
beat Arizona.
They will beat. Okay,
They
so
will beat Arizona.
Jets lose, Giants win.
Sunday night, San Francisco is playing, I don't remember who. That's going to be a really good game. And Monday night, Indianapolis is going to win, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you got
So San Francisco's beating whoever they play. Let's
Well-
pull that schedule up.
Well, let me ask you something. New England is going to Minnesota this week.
Yeah.
A revitalized, rejuvenated Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
Now, there's no way the Patriots are going to play 12.5% of their season and go 0-2, even though they're 2 road games. You start 0-2, and you're in trouble because the Jets will beat New England at least 1 game out of the 2. Miami's already beaten them. Buffalo's so bad. Meanwhile, they're 1-0 too. They won in
Exactly.
overtime against Chicago. Who do you got?
All right, so let's go down the schedule. Starting Thursday night, Steelers Ravens.
Well, now, of course, the
Yeah,
Steelers
of
are going
course.
to win. The Ravens are in such turmoil; they don't know which end is up.
Then you've got the Dolphins Bills
Where?
on Sunday. I believe it's Dolphins at the Bills.
Well, if the Bills, I believe they're about to be sold. If they're ever going to win a game and start 2-0 by winning this home opener after winning on the road in Chicago, it sets up their whole season at 2-0.
Got it.
And Miami, they might have overextended themselves emotionally and physically by beating the Patriots, and they might, almost like a trap game, I could see Buffalo winning that game.
Okay. Saints at the Browns.
Well, I mean, even though Cleveland came back from a 1,000,000-point deficit, there's no way New Orleans is going to start 0-2 because then they're in trouble again.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great game against Atlanta. Matty Ryan played like he used to play. But the Saints are not the same club on the road at all.
Yeah.
If Cleveland could win that game, the Saints, everything basically becomes a must-win again.
Right.
And that emotionally, that sits on you more than physically.
Lions at Panthers.
If Cam Newton plays that game, the Carolina Panthers win that game and start 2-0. Because Detroit's another team, not the same on the road as they are in the friendly
home,
confines.
Falcons at Bengals.
Now that's a really
That's
good
a good
game.
one. Yeah,
That's a good game.
That's a really good game.
You have to figure Cincinnati will find a way to win by a field goal at home.
Cowboys at Titans.
Tennessee wins that game. Dallas starts out 0-2, no question.
Jacksonville at the Redskins.
Washington. Jacksonville may go on, might lose every game. They led 17-0
Yeah.
against the Eagles in the second quarter and had the ball in the red zone. So I'm thinking, okay, because on my regular TV, it turns red, which means they're no worse than the 20. Okay, so that's at least 20-0. Meanwhile, stayed at 17, 34 straight points by the Eagles. Jacksonville's going to go 1-15 or 2-14. They lose that game.
So, what do you think of the struggles by this RG3 kid? You know, he hasn't been playing well.
It's a matter of what the Yankees did with Jabba Chamberlain. They screwed him up. The coach,
Shanahan from last year.
And why did he get away with it? With his incredibly orange-red face that's always looked like his blood pressure was going to burst? Because he won 2 Super Bowls. Again, the past.
Yeah.
The past.
I got you.
But the bottom line on that is, I don't think RG3 will ever be
The same.
I mean, the president was talking about him every day when this was happening. He was a folk hero.
Yeah.
So was the president at one point, but go on.
We already talked about the Patriots and the Vikings. And we talked about the Cardinals and at Giants. Seahawks at the Chargers.
Oh, Seattle may very well go undefeated.
You think they'll run the table?
I think they'll win a minimum of 14 games.
Wow.
And be the number 1 seed, go back to the Super Bowl, this time in a warm weather stadium, I don't know where it is, and they will win the Super Bowl and repeat.
Awesome.
But the week after this, I believe Denver plays Seattle.
I
That's
don't
a
have that
very
on my schedule yet. Yeah,
that's a very interesting game. But
of
go on.
course. Rams at the Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay's got to win that game. I mean, without Bradford, St. Louis wins 2-3 games all year.
Chiefs at Broncos.
Broncos are not going to lose at home, and the Chiefs. I mean, Alex Smith just signed a
my
$1 billion
gosh.
contract. Did they even score on Sunday at home?
He looked
What
terrible.
happened?
He looked
I mean,
terrible.
Andy Reid might have been so upset he wouldn't have his post-game meal. I mean, God forbid he should lose a pound, but still, I mean, absolutely the Broncos.
Okay. We talked about the Jets and the Packers already. The Texans and the Raiders. At the Raiders.
Houston.
Yeah.
See, J.J. Watt is one of the people who, at least in the first game, earned his money. It's too bad Clowney, the other defensive end, is out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But Houston always finds a way.
But he
to
played
lose.
well until then, the kid.
Yeah, but I mean, he's
Yeah.
together. They're amazing.
Yeah.
I have to think Houston wins that game.
Yeah, I think you're right. Bears at the 49ers. That's the game we're trying to remember.
I'll root for the Bears. I hate Kaepernick, but San Francisco is going to win that game.
Why do you hate Kaepernick?
Everything about him, he's just arrogant. With the way he kisses his armpit.
There
It
you
just-
go, that arrogance thing.
The arrogance, I can't. And the Bears starting out 0-2 in a lot of trouble again. The new NFL analyst on CBS, Bart Scott, the ex-Jet,
Yeah.
they asked for predictions. He came out and said that the Bears will not only win the division, they're going to win the playoffs, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Is he crazy?
Meanwhile, they're about to be eliminated already.
Oh, my God.
Because the Jets will beat Chicago in a few weeks at MetLife Stadium. So, I mean, they're lucky if they go 8-8 at this point.
The Colts and the... Eagles at the Colts.
Well, Indianapolis is not going to go 0-2. And based on that, and Andrew Luck being home, again on national TV, the Colts win that game and Philly goes to 1-1. Which means if the Giants beat Arizona, at the worst they'll be is tied with the Eagles. And probably the Redskins and Cowboys will lose, but they're tied for first place. I mean, the best the Giants could do is the number 3 seed by winning the NFC East.
Right.
Because they're not going to beat these other teams. But this is a must-win for the Giants. This is the career for Eli Manning and Tom Coughlin. Eli is not a Giant next year if they lose this game. And they're going to make him retire anyway. How old is he, like 90? I hope I've entertained the audience a little. And I hope I've shown you that the Howie Spira show will be different. Hard-hitting, factual, no holds barred, like a Texas death match. In WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan would be proud. If I'm not back next week, you'll know my fucking producers really didn't feed me, pieces of shit. Have a nice day.